Welcome to the COSAFA Show with Mark Gleeson and Nick Say.
Welcome to our latest episode of the COSAFA Show, coming to you from the Zimbabwean capital of Harare, where we're at the CAF African Schools Football Championship COSAFA Qualifiers. We hear from COSAFA referees manager Felix Tangawarima on the next generation of match officials in the region. But before that, get the views of COSAFA Executive Director Sude Term on the African Schools Football Championship Qualifiers, as well as the exciting proposed plan for the organization's tournament calendar in 2024. Sue, we have the second edition of the CAF African Schools Championship. Last year was Malawi, this year it's Zimbabwe. How exciting is it from a COSAFA point of view to be hosting a tournament in Zimbabwe?
It's been such a long time. In fact, the last time we were here in Bulawayo was in 2017 with the Senior Women's Tournament, which actually was the advent of the consistent annual organization of that competition. So, and then as we know, they went into a ban. So it's really been very exciting for us to come back here. And having left here senior women, we are now back here with the schools tournament. The bottom of the pyramid and the foundation block. So it's quite fitting that as the association comes, off a ban, we are here to rebuild football in the country.
And in terms of these qualifiers, we've seen a big jump in the number of participants this year to 10. That must be pleasing for you that more member associations have got involved with this.
Yes, indeed. Yes, 10 countries, each putting up a girls and a boys team. So we've got a total of 20 teams participating, as opposed to last year where we had 5 girls and 6 boys. So there's been an exponential rise.
And logistically, it is difficult putting together a tournament like this, dealing with children under 15 age level. But are we ready to go?
I think so. It's been slow. It's been arduous in some countries. To get all the passports, as you can well imagine, for under 15 girls and boys. But we're certainly getting there. We had 6 teams arriving in country yesterday, and the other 4 due in today.
And the support that you've received from the sports ministry in Zimbabwe and from ZIFA?
Yeah, very good support from Zimbabwe Football Association, as well as from the operational arm of the ministry, which of course is the Zimbabwe Sport and Recreation Commission, who have been very instrumental in ironing out all of the normal red tape, etc.
And obviously the football on the pitch will take the major focus. But what are other elements and workshops that have been created around this tournament?
We've been very busy since Friday last, where we started off with a D-license coaching course. And we've aimed this time around, the focal point has been school educators. So we've had 35 coaches being put through their paces for a 5-day workshop. And yesterday and today, there is a seminar with coaches from the French Football Federation who have come here as part of their MOU with CAF to give added impetus and practical knowledge for the would-be coaches from that. So that was our starting point. We've got today and tomorrow a young reporters workshop, which we did last year, and we're very pleased to be having that again. We've also had this morning an emergency medical workshop with local doctors from clubs and from various organizations in the health industry. And we will have another one for team doctors and physiotherapists. So very good and worthwhile instruction there. And then safeguarding. Safeguarding is a big focus. FIFA, CAF, and COSAFA. So we are honing in on safeguarding, both at the safeguarding officials and also the kids. Telling them about safeguarding and what to look out for, etc.
You mentioned earlier that this is sort of the bottom of the pyramid under 15 age group level and progressing from there. As someone who's been involved in the leadership of COSAFA for many years, it must give you great pride when you look at players who've come through, started at under 17 and are now playing in La Liga, in the Premier League in England, in Serie A.
Absolutely. And, if I think back to under 17 tournament in Mauritius in 2018. I think that we had quite a number of players that were picked up by scouts in the boys, and then the following year, which was our first ever 20 under 17 girls, and so it has gone on. La Liga in particular have been a very good partner with us in that age group, where they have sent players for experiential, and more recently have just sent a number of players from South Africa and from Zambia for a scholarship in Spain. Absolutely fantastic. And then the list just goes on and on. We've had so many good stories coming out of COSAFA tournaments, the under 20s, the senior men, the senior women, etc.
And of course, that goes not just for players, but for referees. For example, Victor Gomez, I think Jenny Sikaz, we started in COSAFA under 17 tournaments with the officiating and in the World Cup.
Absolutely. Those just to name, but a few. Again, if I think back to that under 17 tournament in Mauritius, our referees department discovered what they thought was a talent from the island of Rodrigues, who kind of had been overlooked, or and brought him to that tournament, and he is now in the A group of referees that are officiating on the continent, and we have many more such gems as part of what we do around all of our tournaments, where we have referees workshops for the officiating referees, but always invite local referees to join, and it's our breeding ground for spotting talent. This referees are on this tournament, and likewise last year in Malawi, from the young referees program, and our youngest referee is Waison Musatafa from Malawi, who was 14 in last year's tournament. Of course, he's 15 this year. And we've got Raphael from Zambia, who's now, I think, 17. We were just watching them go, being put through their paces of training this morning. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of good stories coming out of this program as well.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into hosting a tour, putting together a tournament, a lot of it outside of COSAFA's control. But if we look ahead to 2024, what is the aspirations of the organization in terms of the calendar they would like to present?
We are planning a busy calendar. We are starting with beach. We had to reschedule our beach tournament from this year, simply because there wasn't enough time at the right time of the year for beach. So we rather took the view that we would postpone it or reschedule it for March 2024. It's critical that we need to get something in the first quarter of the year. So that is on the cards. That will be in Durban in March, just before the Easter weekend, and then senior men. We also will bring back the under 20 women, which we haven't done for 3 years now, and it's that. We found that a bit of a challenge, particularly this year, where we had under 20 FIFA women's qualifiers, and could see in some of the countries that they had been missing out on that competitive play and preparation for those qualifiers. So we really want to bring that tournament back. Of course, there will be the Women's Champions League, the senior Women's Championship, and then 2024 is also a qualifier year for under 17 boys and under 20 boys. And then, of course, we'll have the schools again, and under 17 girls. So it's really the planning is to have a real bumper year.
Just lastly, speaking about that, we talked earlier about COSAFA providing a pathway for players into senior football, and it must be so gratifying to look at, in both the men and the women, how many countries are now starting to qualify for the senior championship. I mean, South Africa are African champions. Zambia went to the World Cup and to the Olympics. Mm-hmm. This year, we've got 3 more teams at the WAFCON, or next year rather.
Yep.
It must be very pleasing for you to see the fruits of these junior and senior tournaments coming out in qualification.
Absolutely. And whatever anybody may think, know, not know, etc., we do know that really it's the dedication, it's the hard work of of all of our team, at COSAFA. And I say, it's the greater team because it does take a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of money to organize these tournaments, but this is the fruits of our labor. And I think every one of our team, not just, it starts with the president, the exco, whatever, the staff, but our delegations, as a whole, who are passionate, because otherwise they definitely wouldn't be here. So I think at large, we can all be proud of what we've achieved thus far and have so much more to look forward to.
Felix Tangawarima has helped to develop some of the top match officials on the African continent and is excited about the new generation that is coming through.
Felix, you have another group of young aspiring match officials here with you. Tell us about the workshop that you're hosting at the African Football Schools Championship.
Yes, thank you very much. This is what I can say, the foundation of refereeing. This is where we get them young. It's a very important tournament as far as COSAFA is concerned, because this is the foundation of our development. When we actually get referees who come to the World Cup, we start them from here. So whilst this is a foundation, you can also understand it's not easy to bring the 14 years, 15, 16 years together, because we are dealing with a youth championship. It is important that the same age group must also officiate the same age group. So bringing them here, sometimes it's very difficult because we are dealing with minors. We have got different rules and regulations in each country. Other countries, they don't allow these minors to travel alone to come here. So the planning really, it took us a long time, and I must appreciate the Secretariat, Sue, and the staff. They really helped us to have these boys and girls to be here. And we are really happy. We have trained them. We have been working on them the past 3 days, and they are ready for the tournament.
If you can just go through some of the work that you have been doing them, what is the strategy in the workshop?
You see, what we do is, look, we want them to understand the theoretical part of situations. What we are doing is we take the referees onto the field of play in class, whereby we show them match situations in class, and then we transmit that onto the field of play. But what is important is they need to understand the concept. When they blow the whistle, when they show the yellow card, what is it they would have seen? What is it which would have happened? There are certain levels of challenges. How do they evaluate them? So we actually cultivate this culture of knowing exactly a certain situation goes with a certain sanction. And they've done so well in that. Very important, we have what we call considerations. What did they consider on that situation to come up with that decision? And it has been going on very well. I must say, these youngsters are very, very intelligent. What I like about them is what you teach them, when they get it, they master it, they keep it. So I'm extremely happy with this group.
And you mentioned that they've come from around the COSAFA region, I guess. How was the selection process? How did you identify these youngsters as the ones for this tournament?
As you know, I am in charge of the zone in terms of refereeing. And every time during the year, I am always visiting the countries, looking at the young referees. And this is one of the challenges with the other countries. They are not really up to where we want them to be in terms of bringing the 14 years as referees, But as I go around the zone, I identify these referees. I also use my local instructors within the countries to identify potential good referees, and then we bring them together. And sometimes when I go to their countries, we make a workshop. We select who are the possible, referees with the potential. For your information, we are not just building for COSAFA. We are building for their national association, for COSAFA, for CAF, and for FIFA. You will find out that this particular tournament, the team which is going to qualify here is going to go to the Africa Cup of Nations for this level. Equally the same, the referees who are going to go to the Africa Cup of Nations for this level, they are coming from this group. So we are already showing them that, look, refereeing is a career. It's no longer a situation whereby if you were not good in class, you go to sport. But you can actually combine both sport and the refereeing.
And if we can just talk a little bit in general in your role, I know that we were all very excited. We had the slow introduction of VAR, video assistant referee, at our women's tournament earlier this year. How do you feel that went, and are you hopeful that that's going to be expanded further in the coming years?
You know, we are proud as COSAFA that we have been spearheading all the development, programs. As VAR, if I can tell you, as COSAFA, we are the only region who actually have some referees who are certified to officiate with VAR. And it's an ongoing program. It's the VAR training, it's not a once-off activity. It's a process. We actually did this. We're waiting for the equipment to come. And I can safely say the equipment is coming now. We have a plan already where we will visit every national association with the equipment, training them from there. So by the end of the year, my hope by the end of the year is that every country within our zone should have at least 10 or so referees who are able to officiate with VAR. But I'm so excited with this program. Remember, like I said before, VAR is here to stay. Why? Because it's already incorporated into the laws of the game. So we have no way out. But we are happy because we have done it already. We are far ahead other zones. So this is very important as far as COSAFA is concerned.
And just last one, we've had some very top referees from our region who have retired in recent times. Victor Gomez, Jenny Sikazwi, referees who went to the World Cup. How are you feeling about the next generation coming through? Are we in a good space as COSAFA with match officials?
We had top referees. Top referees in Africa were coming from our zone. And all of a sudden, we lost 5 one time. But I'm also happy that whilst they retired, look at Victor Gomez. He's now the vice president of the CAF Referees Committee. He's now the FIFA Referees Development Officer. He's now the chairman of the SAFA Referees Committee. He's also an instructor, which means we really didn't lose a lot. Look at Gianni. Gianni is also our instructor now. He's one of the best VAR instructor in Africa. So they are graduating from where they were practically to go to another level. But at the same time, we are in the process of building up another strong, team of referees to fill the gap which was left by them.
That's it for another episode of the COSAFA Show. Don't forget you can listen to more of our podcasts on our YouTube channel, Spotify, and iTunes. You can also get the latest news via our website at www.cosafa.com and on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.